they're trying to keep me here because I'm a prophet, but they don't deserve my prophecy, my prophetic powers. Looking back, they're probably trying to keep me so they could like call the DCR on me, which is like the 5150 people, which is like the involuntary committed people, or like something like that. But then like the mixed girl came out to the choir because I was kept talking about black people, guys, and so she came out. I guess they got the only black person in the church, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "You just up here performing for all these white people? What's your problem? You need to be at the black church, celebrating in your culture." And she was like, "I was adopted. I don't know black culture." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." Anyways, and then they were like, "Do you want to talk to somebody? We could get the youth pastor." I guess they thought I was maybe a teenager. Maybe that's also why they were like concerned for me. This happened like years ago, guys, like years ago. But like, they got the youth pastor out, and I just started telling like, and he was like, "Let's go on a walk." So we went on a walk around the parking lot, and I was telling him all my basically my psychotic delusions, and he was like, "Interesting. Why do you think that?" And I was like, just telling him. He was actually really nice to me. I think his name was John. Maybe I should cut that out. No, that's a common name. You're not gonna figure it out. But yeah, he was actually a really cool guy. I don't even think that was his name. I think I just made that shit up. But yeah. And then I was like getting into my car, and John was like, "Are you good to drive?" And I was like, "Yeah, duh." Because I didn't know I was in delusion, my mania. And he was like, "Okay." And then they let out church early. Like as soon as like they let out church early after all that debacle, I think it really spooked people up. And I feel really bad about it, guys. Like this is something I felt guilty about, but I'm kind of come to terms with. Okay, maybe I should make a part 2. So to sum up the story, basically afterwards I was driving in the middle of nowhere, my phone was getting blown up, I think, and then my cousin called me and she was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I was, "Nothing." And she was like, "My church is calling me saying that you went up to the church and you were doing yada 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 yada." And I was like, "Yeah, but it was my mission. I was completing my mission, bro." And she was like, "What mission? What mission?" And I was like, "My mission to save the world from ending. Duh." But anyways, I was soft blocked from the church, the black church, meaning they didn't explicitly ban me, but I like got the vibes. I caught the vibes, and I never went back to my cousin's church or the other church. It's not funny. It's actually really embarrassing. But I went onto that page later on, and they were posting like LGBTQ plus stuff and talking about, "We love everyone except you as you are," blah blah blah. And I like to think that was because of me. So maybe that was my mission in the end. Or maybe I'm just a fucking psychopath and narcissist and think that everybody thing is about me. So yeah. This is the time that I kidnapped my cousin while I was manic. So it all started, I was like going into this manic episode, or in a manic episode, and I kind of realized that I was going into a manic episode. So I was driving to go to therapy. Stick with me, y'all. And I kept like getting all these racing thoughts, and like all of a sudden, like my racing thoughts became about my cousin Omar. I was like, I really miss my cousin Omar. We haven't seen each other in a while. Bitch, y'all won't fucking believe this. I turned the corner. I looked to my left. I see my cousin Omar walking, bro. I see him walking literally on the side of the road. I fucking making you, I'm like, and I fucking stop my car and I'm like, "Omar! Omar!" He's like, looks up and he's like, "KK!" Because that's what they call me in real life. They're like, "KK," my family at least. Nobody else calls me KK but my family. So don't start calling me KK. But anyway. Yeah. Anyways, he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Because it was like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I was like, "Well, I'm going to therapy. I think I'm in a American episode." And he was like, "Well, you want to hang out? I'm locked out of my house. I'm just walking around." I was like, "I guess." I think he clocked my tea. Now I was manic because he was like, "Hey, can I drive?" He was like 15, 16 at the time. He didn't have his driver's license, but he had his permit. So he took the wheel, and I was like, "Well, I have some other errands to run, so I'm waiting for it to open, so sure." Anyways, he's driving the car and this becomes like a manic adventure, bro. Like I'm like turning on my music. I introduced him to Panic at the Disco this day, and I was like screaming in the car, Panic at the Disco. And I was like, okay, I need to go to this antique store. He was like, antique store, and I was like, yeah, this antique store. And we went. I was like, you can pick out anything, and I'll buy it for you. Why is there ranch all over my fucking hand? Um. So we go to this antique store that I like going to, but I have beef with the owners there because they're fucking weird, bro. I don't know, like, I hear my cousin in there, and he's like, this store is, like, fucking weird. Because there's Confederate stuff, like, in KKK memorabilia there. I got the owner to talk to her, and she was, my cousin, I don't remember this, like, very clearly, but my cousin tells me, like, she said something really racist and rude to me. So I go up to her son, and, like, jokingly, like, I was like, hey, asshole. But, you know, I was manic, and I don't realize that that's, like, actually out of pocket. And he was like, why would you say that to me? Get the fuck out my store! And so then I don't know what happens. I gotta ask my cousin. But we run out the store, and my cousin's, like, cracking up. Like they kind of deserve that shit. And I was like, not really, but I guess. But I'm like, look, and then, this is all over the place. And then we get in the car, and I'm like showing him Lion King. My cousin's half Egyptian. I was like, you're born to be a king. Like, I could hear your dad in my head telling me that you're a king, bro. Like, and my cousin was like, I just like, I think he was catching on even more of the fact that I was unwell, but I don't know why he kept driving me places. But my cousin didn't know how to drive, but he was driving me around. And I was like, I need to go to the mall. He's like, I don't know, KK. And I was like, yeah, I need to go to the mall. Just take me to the mall. So he takes me to the mall, and we're sitting in the parking lot. And I'm like, you gotta be careful in there. People are gonna try to feed off your energy, bro. They're gonna try to feed off your energy and fucking steal your powers. And you just gotta keep your head up and be confident in there, because you're a fucking god. We're fucking gods, Omar. We're fucking gods. And I'm like, I'm just sitting in the car ranting to him. And he's like, hold on, I gotta make a call. I gotta just call somebody. I was like, why? He was like, nothing. I just gotta call somebody. So he gets out the car, makes his phone call. I don't know what's going on the phone call, but I'm like sitting in the car, like so excited to go into the mall. He comes back. He's like, I'm gonna pick up something at my mom's house. We gotta go back to my mom's house. I gotta pick up something. I forgot something. I'm like, okay, I guess, but I got business in the mall. We're already here. He's like, no, I gotta pick up something before we go. So then we drive all the way back to his house. And then my Auntie Jamila, God bless Auntie Jamila. Y'all heard about Auntie Jamila, but she comes down and she's like, hey, honey, hey, baby. Why don't you come up to my room? And I was like, okay. She was like, take a nap. She's like, you need to take a nap. And I was like, Auntie Jamila, I'm not tired at all. Like, mind you, I haven't slept in like 2 weeks. But she was like, you need to take a nap, baby. I'm like trying to sleep, but I'm like, no, we need to sing. So I get up and I'm like, we're God's auntie. Like, we're gonna be the next. Our bloodline is fucking divine. Like, you don't even fucking know this shit, bro. And she's like, okay. She's really good at like not fighting my delusions, but she lets me like go off, and I start singing freaking Dreamgirls, trying to encourage. I don't know what the hell I was doing, guys. This is just actually a wreck. And then I saged her room. She had sage, and I was like, I have the powers to sage your room, so I saged your room. And she's just watching me, and then I was like, Auntie, we have to complete our mission. I don't know why we're on a mission, but like, anyway, she was like, I have an idea. I was like, what? She was like, I'm gonna take you to complete your mission. I'm like, really, Auntie? And she was like, yeah. So she wakes up Omar, because Omar went to sleep at this point, because, you know, he was at work. Anyways, we're following along the story. And Omar, like, we get into my car, and like, she was like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. I get in the car, and we're going on our mission quest. And we're going, and I'm like, where are we going? And she was like, just trust me. Bitch, we go to the fucking hospital. My auntie fucking takes me to the fucking hospital. That was my mission. And she keeps up this whole charade. And I check into the hospital and I'm like paranoid. I'm like, they're gonna ruin the mission. Like, they're gonna ruin the mission. So I'm like speaking in Spanish and I'm like, necesito una persona quien habla español. And they were like, what? It was like, you need a person who can speak Spanish? And I was like, see. And then my aunt comes up. I overhear her. And I'm like, she was like, she doesn't speak Spanish. I don't know what she's doing right now. And I was like, I just ignored it. I was like, she doesn't know. I don't speak Spanish, by the way. I don't know why I needed a Spanish interpreter. I was like, the devil can't hear me if I speak Spanish. But yeah. We get into the hospital room and, one thing leads to another and I end up involuntarily committed. I tried to go voluntarily, but then I started to panic and leave, so I guess they involuntarily committed me. But thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Omar, for saving my life that day. And no, I didn't actually kidnap my cousin. That was just clickbait. Sorry, guys, I had to clickbait you, but yeah. Here's Omar.
Quick disclaimer. I went on my own free will and I wasn't kidnapped.
I just want to say that Omar attributes him learning how to drive to this occasion. And I agree, because, like, everybody else was, like, being impatient with him how to drive. But I was, like, sitting there, like, Jesus has us in his hands. We're God's. There's no way we can die.